Okay, we're going into week two. Week two starts tomorrow night. So, yeah, let's see if Cincinnati can keep it up. The Cincinnati Bengals, of course, are at home against Baltimore. You'll notice I'm wearing Chargers. Yeah, it's San Diego, but you know, it doesn't say San Diego on it, so it's Chargers. Um, Cincinnati at home against Baltimore. Baltimore is favored by 1 point in the scoreline that I went by. There are various scorelines. I just used one. I honestly think that Baltimore, with Joe Flacco coming off of a 47-3 win over Buffalo. Wow, that's just I know Buffalo's used to disappointing its fans, but they're doing it earlier than usual. Cincinnati with a 34-23 win over Indianapolis. Andy Dalton, no credit, and I'm not going to give him credit this week either because I'm going to take Baltimore. So let's just write it down. I'll write down who I'm taking, and then I'll keep track from this week going forward. I didn't keep track of my picks last week, not at all. So I didn't keep track of it. I didn't know this would be a thing. And I've got Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz, and Marcus Mariota on the board because there's some uncertainty about what their health is going into this coming weekend. Carson Wentz, especially if he ends up playing, then Foles comes right off the board. But for right now, it looks like Foles is still the guy. Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers are going in against the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are coming off of an 18-12 loss against Philly, a game that they could have won. But again, Super Bowl winning teams win those games. In Carolina, a 16-8 win over Dallas. Cam Newton is he's a beast out there. He is he's a machine, and it's hard for me to go against Carolina. And I understand that the betting line is as Atlanta by 6, and that's the sports betting, that's the way it's going. But personally, I'm going to take Carolina because I can't bet against Cam Newton in this situation. I think Newton's off to a good start. And I think that, and again, it's not about his throwing numbers. This is never about passing yardage for Newton. It's just that the guy is kind of unstoppable at times during games. Cleveland didn't lose, but they didn't win. So as soon as that game was done, the Budweiser people were kind enough to say, "Yeah, you didn't lose, but you didn't win either." So all those beers stay locked up. Well, they're on the road at New Orleans. New Orleans is coming off of a 48-40 loss against the surprising Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with Drew Brees and Tyrod Taylor coming off of a decent performance in that 21-21 tie against Pittsburgh. Decent because Cleveland honestly has been bad for so long, and I don't see them winning this week either. I'm definitely in favor of New Orleans. I can't see Cleveland beating New Orleans. Not in New Orleans, really. No, that's not going to happen. Houston, with Watson at quarterback, they lost 27-20 against New England, but New England had that one call. Gronkowski kind of caught it, but kind of didn't. If they challenged that call, I really think it would have got overturned. There's no betting line yet in this game between Houston and Tennessee. And that's, due to a number of issues, but Tennessee's coming off of a 27-20 loss against Miami, and they've got Mariota probably starting for them. So for me, regardless of who starts or what happens, I'm taking Houston because it's criminal that game against New England was that close, and that play that they didn't challenge, and then New England scored pretty quick after, was basically why Houston lost that game, in my eyes. That being said, New England always seems to get these calls, always seems to get this ball to fall their way. That's part of being the New England Patriots. Andrew Luck and the Indianapolis Colts, they lose 34-23 at Cincinnati. They're in against the Washington Redskins, who are favored by 6, who are coming off of a 24-6 win against Arizona, and Alex Smith is there at QB. You know what? I like Andrew Luck. I understand Washington's a 6-point favorite, but I'm going to take Indianapolis in that one because why not? I think, and I know that's a weird reason to take them, but Luck and Washington has a history of being around a 500 team and good game, bad game, good game, bad game, and it just seems to me like Washington, yeah, this was one of those games where they're at home, there might be some excitement, and they have a way of probably squashing it. Mahomes leads the Kansas City Chiefs off of a win against the Chargers, 38-28, which that made me angry. They're in against Pittsburgh, who are coming off of an angering game against Cleveland. You can't tie a game against New England. So Pittsburgh are 4-point favorites with, of course, Ben Roethlisberger there. And I don't see any reason not to take Pittsburgh in this one, but I think that one's going to be close. Kansas City may very well be a dark horse to end up winning that division. And a game like this where they're in against Pittsburgh, if they can win this one and go 2-0, that would go a long way towards getting that. Now to my Chargers, who lost 38-28 at Kansas City, or against Kansas City. And they're 9-point favorites over Buffalo, who are coming off of a 47-3 loss against Buffalo, or against Baltimore, like I said. Josh Allen is now starting for Buffalo. So Peterman went in one game. So there's a lot of talk about, hey, Peterman's played great in the preseason, and here we go. This is why you can't get too excited about those rookie quarterbacks, because one bad game, out. And Allen's in, and Allen's not exactly a veteran name either. So we'll see how it works out. With Rivers, again, I'm going to go ahead and take the LA Chargers. I don't like how this is also LA Clippers. That bothers me a little bit. But hey, I'll take the Chargers, who are favorites, and because they're not at home, they should have a better chance. I don't understand why the Chargers are in Los Angeles. Los Angeles clearly not big fans of the Chargers. The Rams, that's fine. The Chargers, not so much. Tannehill and the Miami Dolphins coming off of a surprising 27-20 win over Tennessee. They're in New York against the Jets. The Jets are 3-point favorites. 48-17 win over Detroit for those New York Jets. And I don't see any reason to bet against it either. Darnold has every chance now of being a folk hero and leading the Jets to something grand. Not that long after it was supposed to happen anyways, but maybe this is their year. Maybe this is the year they make the playoffs, and maybe they do something too. So game like this early on at home against Miami, you have to win this. And I'm going to take the Jets to win it, but these are usually closer games than they may look when you look at the two rosters. These AFC East games tend to be pretty close affairs. Now, you want a close affair, you've got Minnesota coming off a 24-16 win against San Francisco with Cousins at quarterback, in against Green Bay, where Rodgers should be quarterback, coming off the 24-23 comeback against Chicago. And what a huge comeback. Let's just say right now, Green Bay, that's admirable. This is a pick, meaning the odds makers right now can't pick between the two. And I don't know. See, part of the problem for me is this. Is Rodgers 100%? If Rodgers is 100%, he is the best quarterback in football, I think. And so I would be hard to pick against Green Bay. But Minnesota, coming off that 24-16 win against San Francisco, I think that was a more impressive win, while Green Bay had the really impressive comeback. So, kind of at a loss. I'll say that because Green Bay's at home, on the not quite frozen tundra of Lambeau, because it's too early in the year for it to be frozen, but on Lambeau Field, I'll take Green Bay against Minnesota. I'll just take them. Philadelphia with Nick Foles. They're coming off an 18-12 win against Atlanta. Lucky win, much like New England. Again, when you've been a Super Bowl champion, you start getting those plays. They're in against Tampa. Tampa coming off of a 48-40 win over New Orleans with Fitzpatrick at quarterback. And I understand Tampa had a great game, but this is Philadelphia, and they are looking good. They look better in the second half than they did in the first half. And I'll take Philadelphia to get the win on the road at Tampa. Arizona, Bradford, coming off of a 24-6 loss against the Washington Redskins. The LA Rams are now the next opponent. That's not good news. The LA Rams are pretty solid lineup, and they're coming off a 33-13 win against the Oakland Raiders. How excited is Vegas for the Raiders? Put up your hands. Just a sidebar. Fans in Vegas that I talk to, hockey fans, just people in Vegas in general, not huge fans of Oakland coming up. Anyway, but we'll see. We'll see if that changes. If they go to Vegas and they win, it'll all get forgotten. The Raiders, though, with Goff at quarterback against Bradford, I can't not take the LA Rams in this one. And I say that as a fan of the Rams that has watched them disappoint off and on, and back when they were in St. Louis and when they were in LA before that. But I think this is a decent team with a decent shot. And one of the guys on CBS picked them to be in the Super Bowl. And I thought, really? In fact, I'm trying to remember which guy was on the panel picked the Chargers and the Rams as the Super Bowl. And I thought that would be great for Los Angeles, not great for the rest of the football world. And NFL ratings might be in the tank if that happened. The Detroit Lions coming off a 48-17 loss against the Jets. Easy for me to say. With Stafford at quarterback, that's what $28 million will buy, or $27 million. They're in against San Francisco, who lost 24-16 against those Minnesota Vikings. Garoppolo at quarterback. You know, I know San Francisco's favored by 3. I know they're at home, but I'll say Detroit has to. There has to be some pride that kicks in after that 48-17 drubbing. And Stafford has to have a big game. Stafford, it just has to happen, right? No? Why not? Well, I'm going to take him anyways. Carr leads the Oakland Raiders, who lost 33-13 at the Rams, into Denver, who surprised everybody with a 27-24 win over Seattle with Keenum at quarterback. Keenum, I thought, played okay. Yes, there are some picks in there. Not unusual, though, for a quarterback to have picks that first week. So, forgivable. We'll see where he is going forward. Denver's favored by 6 over Oakland. Oakland's mostly a tire fire. So, I'll go with Denver just based on that. I don't see any reason not to go with Denver this week. Although, with the spread at 6, if you're betting against the spread, you might want to take Oakland in that one. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 3 or 4 point victory. Anytime that I see a big point spread, I would be more likely to bet against the spread. But that's just me. And I don't gamble because I have bad luck with it. So take that with a grain of salt. The New York Giants are in Dallas. This is, of course, going to be a dogfight. The Giants coming off of a 20-15 loss against Jacksonville. And the Dallas Cowboys coming off a 16-8 loss against Carolina. So these teams are going to be angry, and they're playing each other, and they don't like each other. You got Manning on one side, and you got Prescott on the other. I like Manning more than I like Prescott. However, I am not feeling the Giants at this stage of the game. And begrudgingly, and while angering myself, I will take Dallas to win that one. But it's probably going to be a close game. I'm guessing a lot of defense in that, but that remains to be seen, right? Seattle. So coming off the 27-24 loss against Denver with Wilson at quarterback. They're in Chicago. The Chicago Bears have to be just angry after blowing that lead against Green Bay, losing the game by a point. Trubisky, of course, at quarterback. This defense is going to give Seattle some fits, I think. This could snowball quickly for Seattle. If Chicago wins this game, Seattle then 0-2, and going into week 3, it gets more and more difficult to make up that deficit because it's only a 16-game season. So if I have to choose between Seattle and Chicago, and considering the way Chicago played in that first half against Green Bay, I hate to do that. I'll take Chicago, but it's just barely. So there you go. My picks for this week. Oh, I missed one. Can't miss. And people are like, wait, you skipped one. I did. And it's probably one of those things where it's like, it's Brady, it's New England. New England beat Houston 27-20. They're favored by 1 over Jacksonville. Jacksonville beat the New York Giants 20-16 with Bortles at quarterback. If New England's favored by 1, honestly, I can't see New England losing this one at Jacksonville. I just don't see that happening. And it's because of the fact that they avoided that early loss against the Houston Texans. So I really think that New England probably keeps it going. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 15, and I'm missing one off the board. One sec. All right, math adds up. We're all good. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything. Anyways, there you go. You're primed for week 2. Let me know your picks in the comment section below, as always. It's fun early because even though we're only into week 2, we're going to start seeing some teams emerging as early surprises on both sides, on the good and on the bad. And all it takes is that one collapse, and it can just send you on a downswing for the whole season. So I'm not betting on that for Chicago, but let me know what you guys are thinking. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And hey, I'll talk to you guys again soon.